Hey guys, it's day 175 of startup. So if you think like a billionaire, then you may actually have a very hard time starting up itself. So first, let me explain what it means, what I mean by thinking like a billionaire. So if you do not account for luck, then most billionaires are known for and admired for their different way of thinking. We can call it a contrarian thinking, and I think they justify it by some kind of first principle thinking where they do not really go with whatever people believe, but they go with some kind of fundamental truths, fundamental baseline principles, and try to build up their argument and what they want to do in life and how they want to approach different aspects of business and life through those first principles. And that puts them in a position where they're constantly in conflict with the established norm. But in that conflict itself, they're able to see things, some of the things, they're able to find some hidden gems which most people are not able to see. And when they are able to prove, when they are able to create a product out of it, create some kind of value, concrete value out of it, then of course people, once that is proven that their way of thinking was right, then people flock to them, to these billionaires as customers and investors, and that's how these billionaires become super rich and richer and richer. So that's what I mean by billionaires way of thinking. Of course, a lot of it is also luck. It's so hard to separate luck from some kind of inherent trait or quality that makes a billionaire. But okay, let's just focus on that one aspect of contrarian thinking. So that's all good in theory, that if you think differently, then you'll see things that other people will not be able to see and you can build value out of it. But actually in practice, when we are starting out, like you and I, me, it's not too easy to be a contrarian thinker. So one of the guys, a presenter who came to Antler, he used these exact words: contrarian thinking is seldom rewarded with open arms, something like that. Is seldom welcomed with open arms. But whatever, I forgot the exact words, never mind. But that's actually very true. Like while people, when people become billionaire, of course people call them on the stage and admire all their weird ways of thinking, eccentricities, and learn from them, and actually try to copy those weird ways. So Elon Musk will probably come on the stage and he will talk about his new method of managing the team, and then all the world will try to incorporate in their own office environment the same method. Or similar thing happens with the Jeff Bezos. But for us, when we go out to meet our first investor and first customers, and if we say something that doesn't align with this customer's way of thinking, of this investor's way of thinking, then of course we are not rewarded for it. We are actually punished for it. People think that we are stupid, we are weird, and seldom. And I think this is the kind of feedback we get, that we are misaligned, we are off from the reality, and successful people have to have a very good grasp on the reality, something like this maybe. I don't know, like it feels like that's the kind of feedback you're getting constantly, and it considerably slows down your progress. It's harder to get co-founders, harder to get first customers, design partners, harder to get investors, first investors, because most of the people you are reaching out to at this stage are not like billionaires. They're not themselves contrarian thinkers. And even if they are contrarian thinkers, they have their own contrary way of thinking, right? So there's no commonness in your different way of thinking and their different way of thinking. But most likely you will meet people who are actually living a normal life, want to have good social life, good friends, a lot of family. They align well with that. They're not eccentric people doing eccentric things like scientists do. So most often you'll have problems getting them on board, getting support from other people, and that is what causes it to slow down, because a startup needs a support and a collaboration with so many people. So if you are a contrarian thinker, then there's always a huge burden of proof on you. So yeah, you may have, for example, meeting with someone, and he will present his opinion, you will present your opinion, and probably he'll acknowledge that your opinion does make logically sense. But then, because it is so different from what he's used to hearing, he will still wait for you to prove before he will give any weightage, before he can act on that. But if you were actually saying things which everybody around him says and what he also believes in, then probably you do not have to prove so many things. You can just start collaborating based on that common understanding. So yeah, that's the problem. Now, what about the solution? Well, I do not really know the solution, but number one, of course, thing is that just enjoy doing what you're doing, following on your own convictions and kind of exploration. I think that's what science or the scientific attitude which actually billionaires bring to business is all about. So just enjoy that experimentation, that tinkering, and yeah, once in a while you'll be right, maybe slow, but maybe later. But of course, some of the times, if you're thinking logically, some of the things you'll be saying would be right, and that will fetch you rewards because you will be the only one doing those things and having expertise on those things. So slow, but reward will come. And second, I have to try. But I have an idea. Maybe we can bring out some elements of our of the work we are doing which actually align with the common thinking, like twist our story a little bit or reformulate our story a little bit so that it seems a little bit aligned. So for example, in my case, so I'm building a cold calling part which is actually very unique in its actual form, if you just see it as it is. But I can actually align it by saying that it is like there's one another software, cold calling software like Oram, or I can say that it's like AI, which makes automated cold calls. So although it's very different from those, but by just saying that it is like these are the bigger competitors and I'm like in the same space and I'm building the same product but with these differentiations, I think it can fly. But I have to test it out. Anyways, take care.